In my book Crash, which is all about what lessons we can learn from the rise and the exit of CEOs and business leaders, I came to the conclusion, which to me was very profound, that power actually damages the brain. And there are multiple research studies that I came across, which I have alluded to while writing the book. But how does this damage show itself? And I found that it shows itself through a behavioral change in the leader. And what kind of behavioral change I would like to illustrate in this episode. But the important thing I want to emphasize over here is that this behavioral change may or may not derail the leader. What do I mean by derail? When a train is running on its tracks, it is well railed and it is stable. But once in a while, when it knocks off the tracks, it gets derailed and it doesn't do what a train is supposed to do. He or she is in a position of power. If they get derailed, then the behavioral disorder becomes dysfunctional. Now, what kind of behavioral disorders am I talking about? There are a number of them, but I will just allude to a few of them. The first and the most important derailer is, I know it all. Anybody has a problem, come to me, I will tell you the answer. Sab janta wala. And this is a very common behavioral derailer that comes with the acquisition of power. Think of Donald Trump. I mean, he knows everything about everything. And some of our ministers behave in the same way when you look at the public space. The second derailer is this inexorable desire to be visible. There are business leaders who want to be in the newspaper, on page 3, on page 5, on page 7, on page 1, inaugurating something, saying something, and if they are not there, they feel very left out. And when they finish with their jobs and their roles, sometimes they feel the loss of that power because they are not visible anymore. So that's the second kind of derailer. The third derailer is the distrust of people. Insecurity, which may be a consequence of your upbringing or something that happened earlier in your life. But as a leader, you're always worried, what is he trying to get out of me? If I get too friendly to him, then will he exploit me? And this results in a distrust of people. The most famous of the stories, of course, was when Shakespeare wrote the play Coriolanus. Coriolanus was a Roman general who became a very powerful leader in Rome. And his mother used to tell him, you're the leader of people, reach out to people, reach out to people. And Coriolanus said, no mother, if I go out to people, they will exploit me. So he stayed aloof. And when there was a shortage of food in Rome, and people were looting for raising some money, Coriolanus stood to make a speech. He was assassinated. And the Shakespeare's play entitled Coriolanus opens with General Coriolanus standing on the steps of the Senate and people stoning him to death. So this is what happens when people distrust. And these are all the kind of derailers that show up when people get power. And these derailers are the direct consequence of the presence of power.